President Trump is doing exactly the right stuff on Obamacare, and I'm thrilled with how he's proceeding about it. As you know, Congress passed legislation repealing Obamacare, and Trump will, of course, sign that. But the idea is that it can't get repealed immediately. It's got to get repealed as it gets replaced. So the issue is, what do we do instead of Obamacare? And Trump has taken exactly the right view. He signed an executive order ordering his regulatory agencies to interpret Obamacare loosely and to grant whatever leeway and whatever give there is in the regulation, so as not to make it burdensome to people or to companies who are seeking care or insurance. It sounds very vague, and the media didn't know what to do with it. But in fact, it's precisely the right thing to do. The key to getting rid of Obamacare is not to enforce the fines for the individual mandate, but to tell people you can buy insurance or not as you wish. We can't repeal the mandate because that would take 60 votes, but we're not going to enforce it. It'll be vestigial, be like the appendix in your body. It won't do anything. It'll just sit there on the statute books till it rots. But we're not going to enforce the fine. We're not even going to collect the fine, is how I interpret that. And then what we'll do is we will then rule that other plans qualify for Obamacare, even if they're not offered by the exchanges. And I think the government has regulatory leeway to do that, and to say that any health insurance plan that is approved by the state and is an honest plan will qualify, and you'll get the federal subsidy that we now only give to Obamacare patients. So if you want to have catastrophic insurance, you want to just insure if you get hit by a bus, and you pay a very low premium, you can do that. And that'll satisfy the requisites of Obamacare and the mandate. And in any case, the mandate won't really exist. You can do whatever you want. It really creates a situation where Obamacare will wither on the vine, because nobody's going to opt to have all of these regulations and all of these requirements, soup to nuts, and pay a high premium for services and insurance they don't need and they don't want and otherwise would not have purchased. And in the meantime, other forms of insurance will take the place of Obamacare. There will be a thriving private sector marketplace subsidized by the feds, and I think that's going to be just great. There was an interesting bill introduced this week by Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, and Bill Cassidy, Republican of Louisiana. And it grows on an idea that originally came from Ted Cruz, which was to take Obamacare and let each state decide what to do with it. If New York State wanted to continue Obamacare with the requirement that everybody buy insurance and the very high requirements of what has to be in the plan, be our guest. Go ahead. And we'll give you the federal subsidy that we would normally give for that coverage. And you divide it, you spend it as you wish. But if Oklahoma chooses not to have an individual mandate, or chooses to let people buy narrower forms of insurance or no insurance, that's fine too. We'll give them the funds for that, and they can go ahead and do that. Now that's kind of like the first idea I talked about, because while a lot of blue states will rush in and say, oh, we want to keep Obamacare, the reality is that the politics of their own states won't permit that, because people will increasingly complain about the system, see it as ruined, see that doctors are not willing to participate, see that they don't have a choice, and see that the premiums are much higher than in other states which are not required to be part of Obamacare. And those state legislatures will then reverse themselves and opt out of Obamacare. They're both really good ways of getting to where we want to get. One gives the power to the legislatures and the states, the other gives the power directly to the insured people. But it's a brilliant way to proceed. And it's a bottom-up, really, strategy for repealing and replacing Obamacare. Good for you, Mr. President.